fighter in the lineup has been one of the top pro trainers for about 20 or more years. Pat Barrett, Robin Reed and now Tyson Fury, one of my favourite fighters at the moment. I love the kid. But away from his gym in Manchester, his legendary gym in Manchester, I need to say, he has steadily been writing books for decades. I've got at least 3, maybe even 4, maybe even 5 now. He's combined with his son to write his latest book called Hitman, Thomas Hearns story. It's a bold move, and I've got to tell you, it's a nice book, and this man's even nicer. Brian Hughes is his name, and he's on the line right now. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Steve.
Brian, I'm sorry I didn't call you the last few days, but I tell you what's happened, Brian, just because, you and I go back a long way. My mother had a heart attack a week ago.
Oh,
and she got out of hospital this afternoon, but I've had a right 9 days of chaos, so I've had to let people in the office here make calls. I wasn't being rude.
No,
under normal circumstances, I would have called you personally. You appreciate that, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do.
But Brian, this is a bold book, because most of your books have been about, Manchester fighters or British fighters, and you've taken on one of the greatest boxers in history.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what happened, Steve, is I was the first. I read all about Emmanuel Stewart in the 1970s, and I heard that he was getting this team of young amateur boxers together in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I wrote to him, and he wrote back, and we corresponded, and I exchanged ideas about, why the British fighters, couldn't get right. We didn't have too many world champions and so forth. And he invited me over, and I went over, and I was the first British coach to ever go over.
Was this in the late 70s or early 80s?
No, 1979.
Wow, you're 10 years before everybody else.
Yeah, and I took Emsley Bingham with me.
Bingo!
Yeah, and a lad called Lance Williams, who you'll know.
I do, yeah, who turned pro illegally and then was in Scotland. It's all sort of craziness with him, wasn't there? Enough of that, and let's not talk about that.
No. And we went over there, and I was amazed to see what I saw. The gym was in a big building called I think it was called the Henry F. Cronk. It was an old politician from Detroit, and he passed it over to the council, and it was lovely. There was a swimming pool in it, basketball things, all sorts of sports. But the gym was in this cellar. Oh. And it was in the bottom of the building, believe me, and there was all massive big pipes all round the gym. Now people think, that because of the Cronk gym, the fighters that they produced, it was a fantastic gym. It wasn't. There was one ring on the floor in the middle. There was one, and I mean one, punch bag, every punch bag, and there was only one speedball.
Wow. And
every time anybody had to go on a speedball, all the boxers had their own speedball, and the one that was on it had unhook it,
and then put his own ball up.
And that's what they all did. And the fighters that I saw was absolutely unbelievable. And that's where I first met Thomas Hearns. I didn't get to know him personally. Lance Williams did, but I didn't. I just kept it at my own distance.
But you remembered him, you saw him.
Oh, and I was the only white fella that was in the gym.
I bet you were.
And they had 4 trainers on each square of the ring.
Yeah.
And all as they used to shout out was, knock him out, knock him out.
Yeah, we've heard that. I've always heard those sessions are unbelievable. I had Errol Christie just on the show 15 minutes ago, and he did a lot of sparring over there. And were they as savage as that? Because you don't have your boys spar like that, do you, Brian?
No, we work on all techniques.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, let me tell you though, Steve, the boxers that Emmanuel Stewart produced was fantastic, but the human beings that was ruined was unbelievable.
Well, you know what? You've just said something there, Brian, because you're the expert on it. I didn't want to say it, but I completely and utterly agree with you. We don't even... We'll probably never know the names of the hundreds who didn't make it.
No, you're right.
That's Brian, the book, I'm just going to do a little plug for your book, mate. It's Milo Press. People can go online and Google it. It's called The Hitman, the Thomas Hearns story by Brian and your son Damien, and it's a great read. And some of that's if you just heard Brian there, the stuff that when he talks about the Cronk in the book comes across the same way. Brian, before I let you go, could I just ask you about your latest potential star, Big Tyson Fury, 11'7", 25 stone. He's only 18. You know what I mean? How's he shaping up? How's he looking to you, Brian? And I trust your judgment.
Well, he's got the natural talent to become a world heavyweight champion. I wouldn't say that lightly, believe me.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't. You wouldn't tell.
But when he first turned professional, his dad came to see me, and
Gypsy John.
I was coming up for 70, and I didn't want to be bothered. And I told him, but I advised him where to go to McKenzie.
Yep.
And he kept coming back. He was with different trainers and what have you.
About 4 he's had, hasn't he? Yeah.
4 or 5, yeah. And when he came back the last time, you know, me and Pat Barrett got training him.
Yep.
And we said, look, you know, you've got all the potential, you've got all the tools, you've got everything. And he's lovely and flexible for a big man.
Yeah, I know. Considering his size, he's about 6'7" or 6'8" and about
6'9". He's
6'9" and about 17, 18 stone. But he is, you're right, he is flexible, isn't he?
Well, what we did, Steve, we went over to Mick Hennessy arranged for us to go over to Germany for a week.
I heard about this, the sparring sessions.
Oh, I went over with an open mind. I thought, if this kid doesn't start listening, there's no way that I want to stay
be involved, yeah.
You know, and I went in, and the first day, he's sparring with this really good lad who was a cruiserweight, and he'd had 28 and won 28, 21 by knockouts. He was a Ukrainian lad, undefeated. And I wasn't happy with some of the things he did, and I said to Pat, I said, if I could get the next flight home, I'd be on it. And Pat he was in the same room as him, and he must have told him. Anyway, I heard this knock on my door about 2 hours later, and he comes in, and he said, look, I know you're not very happy, he said, but wait till tomorrow and I'll show you exactly what you want me to do. I'll get side on and I'll do the next day, he boxed an African, a big, powerful African, that he was undefeated. And Christ above, I was gently surprised at what he did. The way he boxed, the way he punched, the way he defended. Oh, it was brilliant, honestly.
So he listened?
Then, Then the day after, they put him in with a big Ukrainian. And then the last day that we was there, he sparred with a lad that's boxed over here called Roberto. I can't pronounce his last time, but I can tell you who he boxed. He knocked out Gummer.
Scott Gamma. Yeah.
Who became a British champion.
Yeah.
He knocked him out in a round. And Tyson, I told him it was the last day that we trained, it was on a Friday. And I said, now go out and show this fella because he really fancies doing you. And he boxed him, and Jesus, I've never seen punches like it the way he threw. And he absolutely took this kid apart, this Roberto, believe me. And I come back and I thought, he's definitely going to make it. Whether I was there or not, you know, this kid's got the potential and the tools to do it.
Well, listen, Brian, I'm glad you didn't have a plane ticket home because, I mean, I'm with you. I think this kid can do it. I think he's a good listener. I think he's got everything. And I just fancy it. Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. So once again, I'm sorry for not making contact personally with you. The book's called Hitman, The Thomas Hearns Story by Brian and his son Damien Hughes. It's by Milo Press, and I recommend it, just like I recommend the Errol Christie book, which is called No Place to Hide, How I Put the Black in the Union Jack. Brian, thanks very much. I'll speak to you very soon. That's Brian Hughes there.
Good luck.
No, it's my pleasure. Brian Hughes there.